A 22-year-old woman walked onto a U.S. Army base last week. She had her marriage license, her husband's military ID, her birth certificate. She was there to register as a military spouse, to move in with the man she married weeks ago. ICE agents were called. She was handcuffed, driven away in a military police vehicle. Her husband, a U.S. Army Staff Sergeant. Watched it happen. Her name, Annie Ramos. Now, what happened on that base and why her story is about every military family in America right now, then IMF just issued its starkest warnings yet. The world is not just the Middle East problem. It is hitting your grocery bill, as we've been talking about, your gas pump, and the poorest nations on the earth the hardest. And ICE, as I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, admitted to Congress it is using military-grade spyware to hack into your encrypted phones, signals, WhatsApp, your messages. Who decides who gets targeted? Stay with me as we unfold all this. Let's start talking about Annie Ramos and Matthew Blank. Matthew is a 22-year-old man. He has served 5 years in the U.S. Army. He's preparing for his third overseas deployment. Annie is 22. She came to the United States from Honduras as a toddler, 20 months old. She lived here her entire life. She is a biochemistry student. She has no criminal record. They got engaged on New Year's Day. They married in March. And last Thursday, April 2nd, the newlywed arrived at Fort Park, Louisiana, the base where Matthew is stationed, with family members there to help Annie register as a military spouse and begin the green card application process. Their immigration attorney was filing paperwork imminently. At the visitor center, Annie presented her Honduran passport, birth certificate, and their marriage license. She explained her attorney was filing her green card application. A base officer called a supervisor, then the Criminal Investigation Division, then DHS, then ICE. She was told she would have to be detained. The family broke down in tears. Annie was handcuffed and driven away. The reason cited, a deportation order issued in 2005. Okay, 2005. Annie was 20 months old. Her family missed a court hearing. She lived in this country for 2 decades since. DHS says she no longer has a legal status. Her DACA application has been in limbo for years while court battles over the program. She was released on the 8th of April with a GPS ankle monitor while deportation proceedings continue. Matthew said, "I never imagined that trying to do the right thing would lead her to being taken away from me. What was supposed to be the happiest week of our lives turned into one of the hardest." Now, the Trump administration eliminated the policy that considered military family ties to a mitigating factors in deportation decisions since last April. Right? So the new policy, military service alone, does not exempt military families from enforcement. A soldier's wife on a military base in handcuffs. You think about that, America. Now, while that was happening, the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva delivered a blunt assessment to the world. Before this war began, she said the IMF was about to upgrade its global growth projection. Instead, she said, all roads now lead to higher prices and slower growth. The IMF is now cutting its global forecast. Economics are using one word to describe what is heading stagflation, meaning higher prices, slower growth at the same time. So what does it look like on the ground right now for us real folks in America? Prices are about $4.30 a gallon this month, and we talked about how they're going to try to reduce the ethanol and all of that good stuff. Diesel hit about $6.62, up nearly 50 cents since the war began. The cost does not stay at the pump. It moves through every supply chain, every grocery store, every delivery, every construction project. In the Philippines, the government declared a national energy emergency. The country imports 98% of its oil from Middle East. Government officers are working 4 days a week to conserve fuel. In Pakistan, which imports 40% of its energy, the situation is described as potentially catastrophic. We know the country was already economically fragile before the Strait of Hormuz closed. In Myanmar, already in a civil war, private vehicles are restricted to alternate days. And Dubai's humanitarian hub, the largest in the world, which normally supplies aid to 26 countries within hours, dropped to supplying to just 9 countries in March. So life-saving medicines, food, emergency supplies, all of it slowed down or stopped because of the war that Congress never voted for. So the IMF will present full economic outlook at the World Bank spring meeting this week. The forecast is expected to be starkest since the pandemic. And what are the streets saying? ICE confirmed to Congress on April 7th that it is actively using Paragon Graphite military-grade spyware that can hack into signals and WhatsApp and intercept encrypted messages. ICE Director Todd Leon said that it is being used against fentanyl traffickers. But here's what the letter to Congress did not answer. Who decides who qualifies as a target? Does ICE get a warrant, or do they just use administrative subpoenas that require no judge? Has this tool been used against people inside the US? How many times has it been deployed? And when you hack one person's phone, you capture messages from everyone they communicate with. Not answers, no answers on that. Just confirmation that the tool exists and is active. Now, to connect it to Annie Ramos, a woman who went to a military base with a marriage license and got detained, and a government agency that just confirmed it's reading encrypted messages with no public oversight. The question your government is not answering is, where does enforcement end and surveillance begin? I'll ask you one more thing. What exactly does protecting America mean when it comes for the people who serve it? If this episode reached you today, subscribe. Whoever you feel like will benefit from it, please share it with a family member, friend, someone who needs to know that ICE just admitted, someone who's watching their gas bill climb up and wondering why. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I leave you all in the care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.